Don't be a sucker. Learn about meat bees and a real-life beekeeper. All happening today on How Did This Get Made? Last Looks. Hit the theme!
1, 2, 3, 4! How did this get made? What were they thinking? Where is this going? I'm so confused, I'm so upset. Did someone lose a drunken bet? Did someone really read the script and think to themselves, I could put my kids through college, but nay, I have a date with destiny. I've got $1 million on mannequin too. Ooh, in the immortal words of Tommy Lee Jones to Jim Carrey, I can't sanction this buffoonery, and so could Paul and Jason. Please explain to me exactly how did this get made?
Swarm! What's up, all you members of the How Did This Get Made Beehive? I am your ceiling leak repair guy, Paul Scheer, and welcome to How Did This Get Made Last Looks, where you, the listener, get to voice your issues on The Beekeeper. And later in the show, I am going to recommend to you things that I'm currently loving and want to recommend in a classic Paul's Pick segment. I'm also going to share an exclusive deleted scene from our Beekeeper live show. And as always, we are going to reveal next week's film. Now, before we get any further in the show, I must give a big shout out, a huge thank you to Matthew Fountain for that amazing opening theme. You are outdoing yourselves with this opening theme work. I mean, truly, every week we are loving it. And if you have a Last Looks theme that you want to send in, send it to howdidthisgetmade@earwolf.com, but keep them short. 15 seconds is perfect. 20 seconds is just a bit too long. I know that sounds crazy, but trust me, it is true. Jason and I just got back from Chicago. We did sold-out shows at the Den Theater, and we are going to continue our Dinosaur Improv live show tour in Seattle and Portland on May 31st and June 1st. Now, here is the bummer. Only standing room only seats are left in Seattle, and Portland is sold out. So why am I advertising it? I don't know, but I wanted to let you know that we will continue this tour. We're going to go to New York. We might go to some other fun places as well, because the response has been, frankly, amazing. Secondly, I'm going on my book tour. That's right. My book is coming out on May 21st, and I'm going to be in Brooklyn with the editor of The New Yorker. That's right. A Pulitzer Prize winner is coming to Brooklyn to talk to me about joyful recollections of trauma. That is going to be on May 21st. Tickets are only $10. Plus, I'm going to be in San Francisco on June 2nd with the Mythbuster himself, Adam Savage. That show is free. New York is already sold out. Chicago with Adam Pally is close to selling out. And LA, sorry, it's gone. Joel Kim Booster and June Diane Raphael are joining me there. There are a ton of shows, but here is the best part. If you live in Australia, if you live in the UK, wherever you live, I am doing a virtual live signing, which means you can get a signed book from me. Ask me a question. It's a virtual live signing. You'll get it. It ships anywhere in the world. And Jason Mantzoukas and Rob Hubel are going to join me in that for a little bit of fun. And here's the best part. It's not super expensive. The book retails for like $29. And to do that, $35 and you get an autographed book. Not bad. Anyway, check out my website for more information. I'd love to see you out there on the road. And I'll sign any book. If you've pre-ordered it, bring it to the events. It will be fun. Now, let's get into it. Oh, by the way, any of you like Nantucket? Well, we'll be there on June 20th. That's right. How Did This Get Made? We'll be at the Nantucket Film Festival on June 20th. And the movie we got picked out is a doozy. All right. Let's get into it. Last week, we talked at length about The Beekeeper, a movie that Discord user Johnny Unusual thinks should have had the tagline, The Beekeeper. Strangely, fewer bees than the Wicker Man. You know what? That is strange. There aren't that many bees. There's talk of bees. He is a beekeeper. We don't see bees attack. I would have liked one bee attack. I mean, unless Jason Statham is the bee, then we see a lot of attacks. Anyway, we had questions about The Beekeeper, and we might have even missed a few things. Here's your chance to set us straight. Fact check us, if you will. It is now time for corrections and omissions.
Greetings, this is Jason Statham. I think it's time for a slow jam. Oh, that's it. I just wanted to take a moment to apologize to all the hardworking citizens manning our call centers in North America and abroad. Next time you get a call during dinner or a vigorous lovemaking session, don't be angry. Just hang up. You don't need to go down there and burn the place to the ground. They're just trying to make a living, selling you goods you didn't know you needed. And now, back to corrections and omissions. Paul.
Thank you, Randy Smith. Wow. Johnny Unusual, back again, says Paul stated bees don't kill with fire, and that's true. But the Asian honeybee can kill with heat. When a hornet enters their hive looking for food, the Asian honeybees surround the hornet, generating so much heat that the hornet is cooked to death. Oh, Johnny Unusual with his Asian honeybee knowledge, and he actually posted a clip of it on YouTube. All right, so Johnny Unusual, I stand corrected. I mean, although I don't think that Jason Statham was being an Asian honeybee in that moment, but maybe he was. Maybe he represents all bees. John Not Connor, I love John Not Connor, says, you guys neglected to mention how the phishing scam started. They don't call Felicia Rashad. They send a pop-up to her computer telling her to call them at 1-800-SUCKER because her data is compromised. This plays into the poetic justice of Statham's first act of vengeance. The bomb that levels the first call center is rigged to that telephone line. See, we see the phishing pop-up appear on the screen of an elderly, immigrant-looking couple, and their call to the 800 number triggers the explosion. The number you dialed has been disconnected. Oh, I like it, John. And speaking of the phishing scam, lovely Lizette writes in to say, I don't know, the friendlyfriends.net website that the scammer gives to Felicia Rashad seems pretty legit to me. Now, here's the thing. When you click on this, it's pretty great. Just click on the friendlyfriends.net website. Someone worked very quickly. It's not weird. It's not dirty. It's not even NSFW. It is just fully safe for work. Anyway, Fun Facts 47 writes that one of my favorite pieces of music from John Wick is its modern take on Vivaldi from the John Wick Chapter 3 film. Since The Beekeeper has so many similarities to John Wick, I thought it was a real missed opportunity that they didn't do an action sequence set to a modern rendition of Flight of the Bumblebee. Oh, wow. Fun Facts 47. Imagine Trent Reznor doing that. Oh, aces that would be. Anyway, Dr. Guts 1003 writes, United Data Group has a call center in Boston that is part of a large office building that likely holds other tenants and has a bright pink neon sign in their lobby that says United Data Group. How has the FBI been investigating for 2 years and have no clue where they are located? Dr. Guts, you ask a pretty fucking good question. Maybe they don't know where the queen bee is. And if they just go in there, they're not, well, I guess they would be finding criminal activity. I don't know, Dr. Guts. Good observation. CYU writes, when I first saw the Beekeeper trailer, I immediately remembered this news story from 2022 that also took place in Massachusetts, which apparently is, you guessed it, the bee capital of America. So basically, the story begins with the police trying to serve an eviction, and when they're met by protesters from a local organization supporting black homeowners, one of the protesters, who knew the pain of getting evicted herself, took matters into her own hands and, well, take a listen.
A woman is accused of trying to attack deputies with a swarm of bees. Officers in Massachusetts say the woman tried to release the bees during an eviction. She had on a beekeeper suit and brought boxes of the insects to the home. Officers say at one point she was agitating the bees. Ooh. She is charged with assault with a deadly weapon.
When she was handcuffed and told several officers were allergic to bees, she even gave a Statham-like quote, replying, "Oh, you're allergic? Good." That's right. Oh, well, she was charged with assault and battery by means of a dangerous weapon, a.k.a. the bees, protecting the beehive. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will hit the phone lines for more corrections and omissions, and of course, we will announce our next movie. Rob, from Long Island, please play us out to commercial.
Welcome to another episode of Last Rules. Beekeeper. If this was second opinions, I'd give it 5 stars. How did this get made?
Welcome back to Last Looks. We still have some very important corrections and omissions to go through from the Beekeeper, so let's go to the phones. First up, Meg from Arlington, Virginia.
Hi, Paul. First time, long time. The one scene you were talking about where there's somebody working on the ceiling at the FBI's Hoover building, I wanted to call in and let you know it's well known inside the Beltway that the Hoover building is falling apart. If you Google J. Edgar Hoover building falling apart, there's a bunch of articles about how there are nets outside of the building to catch chunks of the building falling off, that inside the building things are falling. There was an article from December of 2023 talking about how water systems fail regularly and plumbing is a problem. So June's point about the FBI being underfunded, I'm not sure it's quite that. There's a lot of politics involved in it, but it is true that the Hoover building is falling apart. Thanks.
Okay, this is interesting. So this is a quote from the article that Meg references. My God, I can't believe that you guys went into this amount of detail. I love it. That's why I love this show. Anyway, the article quotes it as saying, the FBI's J. Edgar Hoover building is showing its age as it sports nets around its perimeter to keep chunks of concrete from falling off and hitting pedestrians. But parts of the building are also dropping onto employee workspaces and equipment. Nick Demos, an assistant director of the FBI's Finance and Faculties Division, said the agency has spent $75 million since 2011 to avoid a catastrophic breakdown of its water systems. Pipe bursts and plumbing challenges are commonplace, leading to the damage of the FBI space, IT, and records. Wow! So this movie was researched. Holy shit! Shauna from Santa Clara, what do you got?
Hi, Paul. I loved the Beekeeper episode and wanted to share an omission. My favorite part was the huge guy who Jason said looked like an X-Man. I didn't hear it mentioned on the podcast, but that guy was wearing a yellow jacket. Yellow jackets are sometimes called meat bees because they're the same size and color as honeybees, but yellow jackets are actually wasps. So the meathead character, who was one of the bigger threats to the Beekeeper, was dressed to symbolize a meat bee. I thought that was a great detail. Thank you so much, and good luck with the book launch this month. Bye.
What? Are you telling me this movie makes more sense than we thought? I didn't even know that yellow jackets are meat bees. I like a meathead. This is great. All right, let's go to the phones for Adam from Seattle.
Hey, Paul, I've got a correction or omission on the Beekeeper. After Felicia Rashad gets her bank accounts emptied out, her cell phone lights up with fraud alerts from the various banks. But if they're aware that fraud happened, you'd think they'd take steps to do something and correct it and give her money back. That's why these fraud departments exist. Apparently there was no need for her to commit suicide. Just thought I'd mention it. Thanks. Bye.
You know what? I'm just going to say we might have a deleted scene here that, talks about the fraud alerts in the film. So stay tuned, Adam. Stay tuned. This week truly was eye-opening for me. Corrections and omissions, often we're getting, distances or obscure facts, but you proved to me that this movie is smarter than we originally thought. But I have to tell you, while I love the website, while I love the story of the woman attacking the police with bees, I have to say that John Not Connor explaining a part of the movie that we all completely missed really does take the cake, because I feel like, the rest you all researched and I'm impressed by. But that I thought was a really smart observation. Why? I don't know. I think I like it, because now I'm like, maybe it should be the woman who stung everybody with bees. I don't know. It's not actually the woman who stung everybody with bees. It's just the person who brought that to our attention. Anyway, John Not Connor, you're the winner. It's contested, but who cares? So many great corrections and omissions. So now you get this theme from Chris Finke.
You win nothing. You win nothing. Except for this song on Last Looks.
Thank you, Chris Finke, for that winner theme, and apologies that we forgot to credit you when we last played it. That was me. I forgot. I'm sorry, Chris. But you know what? Better to be like, ooh, who is that? And it's a mystery. Now we solved the mystery. That's what people like. People like mystery. a.k.a. The Jinx. All right. Remember, if you want to submit a alt movie tagline or chime in with your own thoughts about the latest episode, hit up the Discord at discord.gg/HDTGM or call us at 619 PAULASK. That's right, 619 Paul Ask. Coming up after one final break, I will recommend the things I'm currently enjoying, and then I will announce next week's movie. But first, listen to this bonus deleted scene from our Beekeeper show where June gives her take on those fraud alert notifications. See, I told you it's coming up, that Adam from Seattle called us about.
One other thing. She gets multiple fraud alert messages on her phone after this all goes down and the $2 million is wiped out from the charity. When those fraud alerts come up, they've usually actually stopped the transaction. So I don't understand.
Like the bank
So
was
you
a,
think-
the,
you
the
think
bank
the-
was a second behind. Shit! Fuck!
You think if she refreshed, that money would have come back in?
Right on back. If she had just turned
Oh,
her
that's heartbreaking.
computer on.
He says
If
at one
she
point...
has fraud alerts on, which I'm sure she does, especially on the $2 million account, they would have stopped the transaction. They would not have let that money go through.
I agree with you, but look, this movie, well, I don't know. This is a very sophisticated system. This is the same money that got the president elected, President Mom.
Holy
but
shit!
I-
This is a CIA bit of tech that has been repurposed to pilfer millions from the elderly. The
But what
scam
but
is
here's the
getting
thing.
it from the elderly.
But Jason, what is the tech exactly? Because
I'm
all
so
the
glad
tech,
you asked.
The tech to me, as far as my little eyes can
I'd love to
see,
read you the code.
is simply like when you're sharing your Zoom with another person. You can also give control of your computer screen to another person. That seems to be the tech that this is all based on.
Well, the tech also seems to be I think what the tech is doing is finding, because they say it at one point, finding people who don't have close relations, who have money in the bank, who are susceptible to this kind of a scam.
Jen Shaw from The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City was able to do that. That data has been out there for years.
Okay, so these guys are like her. Full stop.
Well,
These guys
then-
are like Jen Shaw, except
then-
they're getting the president elected.
Then my question is simply this. If their technology is so sophisticated, why is the Beekeeper's technology from 1975?
I loved it. Well, just like
Montezuma's Revenge.
Just
It's
like
what-
John Wick, the Beekeeper office has to be pretty weird. Like, they are in jumpsuits and they're using like a Commodore 64 computer to enter codes in. I was like,
First, you
what
must play
is
this game of Pitfall. Then you'll...
Bloop, 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 bloop. There's Inky and Blinky are coming after you. You've got ghosts on your tail, Beekeeper.
I will say
It's a
that
Pac-Man reference.
People, I know that you've noticed that every Monday we do something called Matinee Monday, where we pull an old episode out of the vault. This week's Matinee Monday was Stephen King's Sleepwalkers, and next week's will be Arnold Schwarzenegger's The Sixth Day. So keep on checking out those replay of classic episodes and try to figure out how they tie together with the movie that we just did. We try to do it. Maybe sometimes it works better than others. But if you could tell us how, then that means you're paying attention. And honestly, I'm asking that because I don't know how the Sixth Day ties into any of this. Anyway, we have spent a lot of time hearing from you, but no one has asked me about me. That's right. What am I up to? And I know, oh, Paul, you talk about your book all the time. Well, yes, I do, because I want you to buy it. And when you do buy it, you'll get fun stuff on my website. But I'm not going to talk about that now. It is time for me to talk about other things other than me, just things that I love. And it's now time for Paul's Pick of the Week. Go home, Gary. Play me in. All right, so let's do it quick. I have been touring around. I have been seeing, hearing, doing a bunch of different stuff. I've been watching a lot of NBA playoff basketball. So I haven't been able to dig in to things that I normally dig into, but I'm going to tell you, Summer House on Bravo. I always go back to Summer House on Bravo. I love Summer House. If you're not watching Summer House, I think it is one of my favorite Bravo shows simply because the premise is kind of perfect. It's just New York City people who go to the Hamptons on the weekend and get totally wasted and reveal things that they should never reveal to each other. I love the show. I don't think you need to start at the beginning. I think you can start right now and you'll enjoy it. You'll love it, as a matter of fact. I also have been enjoying The Jinx Season 2. I talked about this on my Substack a little while ago. Yeah, I have a Substack and it's free. I love Baby Reindeer, but everyone loves Baby Reindeer, so I'm not going to promote that. But I will tell you that Knuckles, which is a show that I have a small part in, is hilariously funny. Knuckles is a new show on Paramount Plus. Adam Pally stars in it with Kid Cudi and Edie Patterson from The Righteous Gemstones. It's legit hilarious. I love it. And my kids love it. It's one of those rare shows that kind of cross the boundaries of parent and kids, and it is great. So I highly recommend that. I also want to recommend this movie, and I don't want to say anything more about it than it's unlike anything that you've ever seen in your life, but it's called Hundreds of Beavers. Hundreds of Beavers is about a drunken Applejack salesman who has to become North America's greatest fur trapper. It is slapstick. It is insane. It is truly unlike anything that you will ever see. It has a 95% Rotten Tomatoes rating. I think it might be one of the best movies ever. It's just simple. It's silly. And it is great. You're going to love Hundreds of Beavers. I don't want to tell you more. I think more will wreck it. Well, podcasts. What am I listening to in podcasts? The Three was a podcast, a murder podcast. I don't do murder podcasts, but I was listening to this murder podcast called The Three, and it is about three girls that one of them is killed. And, by the other two. It's dark, but it's interesting because the killing is so random because one day I don't want to tell you what happens. Just The Three is pretty addictive. And if you're not listening to JJ Redick and LeBron James podcast, I find this podcast amazing. It is just two basketball players talking about the sport, like really getting into it, the nitty gritty, the X's and the O's. It's called Mind the Game Pod. Mind the Game Pod. And if you have any interest in basketball, it is so much fun. I love these two guys. All right, that is all I got. And now it is time to announce our next movie. We are going from an English beekeeper to a Scottish butler. That's right. Next week's episode, we will be watching the 2009 R-rated rom-com, The Ugly Truth, starring Katherine Heigl and How Did This Get Made all-star Gerard Butler. Here's a breakdown of the plot. An uptight television producer takes control of a morning show segment on modern relationships hosted by a misogynistic man. You know what? That's not it at all, but kind of is. Anyway, Rotten Tomatoes gives this film a 14%, which is rotten on the tomato meter, and Alonso Duralde from MSNBC writes, by the time they have their big showdown in a hot air balloon, a sequence incidentally featuring some of the fakest green screen work in recent memory, you'll be pleading for an the humanity ending. That's a Zeppelin reference to this. Cinematic Hindenburg. I wrecked it. I wrecked it. I'm not going to go back and retake it, though. Let's listen to the trailer for The Ugly Truth.
On July 24th, the battle of the sexes is on.
I like a woman on top.
Oh. It's Heigl versus Butler.
You're telling me you've never slept with the Fun Bag twins?
Who am I to kill their dreams?
You're such a man whore.
Put the hot dog in slowly.
The Ugly Truth. May the best sex win.
Ow. Would you stop doing that?
I think I kind of like it.
Really?
Sucker.
Rated R. Special sneak preview this Friday.
You can currently stream The Ugly Truth on TBS, TNT, and True TV, or you can rent it on Apple TV, Amazon, YouTube, and Google Play. Separately, I also encourage you to check out Hoopla and Canopy, which are digital media services offered by your local public library that allow you to consume movies, TV, music, audiobooks, ebooks, and comics for free. And if you don't have enough money to buy my book, Joyful Recollections of Trauma, request it from your library. Paul, how do I do it? Put your zip code in, put library in, then go to your library website and request my book. Request my book from any of your local stores. I want to support indie bookstores. And that's why I'm also listening to a lot of audiobooks on Libro. Yeah, check it out, Libro. Anyway, people, that is it for the show. Please remember to rate and review. It helps. And if you listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure you are following us and have automatic downloads turned on. Visit us on social media at HDTGM. And a big thanks to our producers, Scott Sani and Molly Reynolds, and our movie-picking producer, Avril Halley, our associate producer, Jess Cisneros, and our engineers, Casey Holford and Rich Garcia. We will see you next week for The Ugly Truth.